Good morning, everybody. It is I, the Nomad, coming to you from the wastelands of the internet. How are you doing? Good morning to you all. Welcome to the show. How's it going, Bobby B? And how's it going there, Master Barkley? I hope that you're having a good time. And no, you're right on time. You're right on time. All right, I was doing a little bit of fan service before we started. All right. It's going to be at the moment I'm kind of by myself. Somebody wants to join, they're more than welcome to come pop on in. But at the moment I'm by myself, and we have news. We're just gonna start getting right with the news. All right, to get this done and over with, shall we? In the Ukraine's west, draft dodgers run and swim to avoid war. The rolling water can be treacherous. The banks are steep and slick with mud. The riverbed is covered with jagged and hidden boulders. Yet Ukrainian border guards often find their quarry, men seeking to escape the military draft, swimming in these hazardous conditions, trying to cross the Tisa River where it forms the border with Romania. Lieutenant Vladislav Tonkoskan, all right, recently detained a man on the bank where he was preparing to cross the river in hopes of reuniting with his wife and children, whom he has not seen for 2 years since they fled to another country in Europe. That thousands of Ukrainian men have chosen to risk the swim rather than face the dangers of soldiers on the Eastern Front highlights the challenge for President Vladimir Zelensky, or Volodymyr Zelensky, as he seeks to mobilize fresh troops after more than 2 years of bruising, bloody trench warfare with Russia. We cannot judge these people, said Lieutenant Toscan. All right, but if all men leave, who will defend the Ukraine? Why are they fleeing? Okay, this is important. Okay, and it's an important for people to understand this. Okay, there is a woman, right, commenting on various things. All right, doing shorts on YouTube. You can find her. And it's an older woman, and she sounds all erudite and so forth. And she's not even half as intelligent as she thinks she is. Now, she makes some good points. Don't get me wrong. She makes some good points. Um, and her comments about Russia slash the Soviet Union are not inaccurate, but at the same time, they're only partial truths. And there is one thing she said, however, that I totally agree with, right? And that is the Ukrainians' nationalism, okay, has been stoked by Vladimir Putin's war against the Ukraine. Okay? The the fact is that the people in the Ukraine were never a country unto themselves and felt more as a country now since this attack. However, there's still an ethnic issue in there that she's not even attempting to understand. Okay, she talks about how, well, Vladimir Putin has isolated the very people who would have voted for him because the Donetsk regions and the Crimea, these buildings have been burned out by his own people, and therefore, they're less likely to sit up there and support Russia. Wrong, wrong, wrong. They were already in control of those areas. The Russians were already in control of those. She even admitted it. They were already in control of those areas. So where's the damage coming from? It's coming from the quote unquote fighters in the Ukraine. Now, I'm not trying to take a side here. I'm just trying to point out that this woman has a very slanted view of things. She's like, all of NATO, all these countries are joining NATO because they fear Russia. Okay, good point. Great point. Here's the problem, though, bitch. What's NATO? What's NATO? I'm not joking around here. What is it? Well, don't you understand, no man? It's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. No, it's the United States. You pull the United States out of there, what's NATO? Nothing. And that's the problem. All these countries running around going, save me, America, save me, U.S. Oh, we're going to backstab you every chance we get in the UN, but you got to save us from the evil, bad Russians. You evil bastards. You're the imperialist Americans. How dare you? But NATO, please save us from the evil Russians. Go F yourselves. And this is what this bint can never understand. NATO is nothing without the United States right now. Why? Because the rest of these people don't care. The Germans don't care. The French don't care. The Dutch don't care. The freaking Belgians don't care. None of these sons of bitches give a shit. They rely completely upon the United States to sit up there for their blood and treasure to be used while they sit up there living high on the hog. Go screw yourselves. This is a heightened situation where Europeans should be scared to death of Russia. They should be going, you know something? We've got to start thinking about our own security. We've got to start doing things to sit up there and make sure that we strengthen our militaries. And yet none of these sons of bitches, aside from the Brits, have done a flipping thing for it. Where's the vaunted Luftwaffe and Wehrmacht? Where's the French Foreign Legion? Why aren't you starting to put some freaking French Foreign Legion on the border with Poland? Activate a few divisions and put a few tank corps on there. How come there are no German tank corps in Poland? Not that maybe I should take that one back. Okay, because there's no way the Poles are going to let a German tank corps be on that land. Okay, I'll give you that one. But are the Germans plussing up their tank corps? No. Oh, the lift balloons. Do you start to get it now, folks? This bint doesn't know what she's talking about because in a description against the United, in NATO, and I agree the Russians are a threat to the rest of the European Union. They are a freaking threat. But none of the rest of the countries give a shit. None of the rest of the countries see it that way. None of the rest of the countries are willing to sit up there and put their freaking bodies on the line and their treasure on the line. None of them seem to think that it's a big freaking deal. So why should the United States be there? We don't have ally. The only NATO ally we have is Britain. Well, what about Canada? What about Whoa. Where are the Canadian tanks? Why isn't there a Canadian tank corps? All right, Russia, heading on out. All right, and placing their troops in Poland and manning the front line. Why aren't they doing it? Well, we don't have this. America has all these things, and America's like this. Yeah, because we've been sacrificing for all you fliptards. It's about time you guys started paying your freaking bills and paying your way. It's about time you started living up to the damn treaty obligations that you actually have and start taking these things seriously instead of going, Papa Smurf, save us while we stab you in the back in the UN. Papa Smurf. How many times do these bastards backstab us in the UN on votes? Every chance they freaking get. Listen to them. Listen to these people. Oh, talk about America. You guys are running American imperialism. Well, you don't want American imperialism? Fine. We'll pull out. Enjoy. Have some Russian imperialism. Let us know which one you like more. All right. Oh, you need to be defended. Go and defend yourselves. You guys wanted to poo-poo us. You guys constantly talk about how great your countries are and how the United States should sit up and listen more and how American people, all right, oh, they're just ignorant of history. We're just ignorant of history. Okay. Well, why don't you demonstrate some of that intelligence of that history, all right, and show us what you're made of. I'm in a ranting mood, as you can tell, folks. There's a lot of reasons for that. Some of which I'm not going to go into, but I'll go into one thing. Right, my shoulder is absolutely killing me right now. I don't know what I did to it. Anyway, on to the next story. The situation on the Ukrainian front line is deteriorating significantly in the last week. From the UK Telegraph. The situation on the front line in Ukraine has deteriorated significantly in the past week amid a renewed Russian offensive following Vladimir Putin's re-election. Ukrainian commander-in-chief has warned. Oleksandr Syrsky. Syrsky. I'm not trying to butcher your name, dude. I'm really not. All right, who took over the Ukraine's top military leader in February, said that Russian forces had superior weapons and numbers. He spoke of a significant intensification of the enemy's offensive after the presidential elections in Russia last month and added decisions were being taken to strengthen the most problematic defense areas with electronic warfare and air defense. The situation on the Eastern Front has deteriorated significantly in recent days, said General Syrsky. Ukraine has said the situation around the Eastern Front line cities of Chasiv Yar is difficult and tense, with the area coming under constant fire. Chasiv Yar lies 12 miles west of Bakhmut, which was flattened by months of artillery fire before it was captured by Moscow in late May. Russia has recently secured its first territorial gains since seizing Bakhmut and is now trying to press onward against Ukrainian units hobbled by delays in the supply of vital Western military aid. Well, boy howdy, you got a massive border with the Europeans, and the Europeans aren't providing you enough frickin' aid? Do you see the point, folks? Oh, it's got to come from the U.S. The U.S. doesn't have to be the only freaking. We're only one country out of how many? Well, yeah, but you guys got the largest military. We got the largest military because we had to protect your freaking asses. But you know what? We're tired of doing that. We got enough of our own freaking problems. Only now just deteriorating. The fact that they're saying that the Russians have better weapons and more weapons is hilarious. Meanwhile, our newspapers put out this from Newsweek. Russian troops disappearing en masse in Kherson, says a resistance group. A Ukrainian partisan movement operating in the occupied south of the country has reported mass desertions by Russian forces there, with Moscow's troops refusing to carry out combat missions. The attest, meaning fire in Crimean Tatar. You know who the Tartars were, right? Okay. Does Cossacks mean anything? All right. Movement has been operating in the southern Kherson region during Russia's full-scale invasion. It began in February of 2022 and saw much of the southern portion of the country quickly occupied. A test gathers information on local Russian operations for Ukrainian intelligence and military forces while organizing local resistance. The group has also claimed the killing of multiple Russian and local allied troops. A test wrote on its Telegram channel on Thursday, Russian soldiers are disappearing in mass in the Kherson region. Really? According to official reports received by Russian armed forces group Dnipro, we learned that freaking ads drive me flipping crazy. Right. We learned that they're disappearing in mass. If they were disappearing at these rates, then why aren't you winning? You see, everyone was expecting, and I mean everyone. If you read, if you go back 2 months, 3 months, everyone was writing about how come spring, there would be a great Ukrainian counteroffensive, and that it was poised to retake the Crimea. They never should have tried to take the Crimea. Just a point. Now, does the Russians are the Russians able to just march, do whatever they want willy nilly? No, they're not. They are being fought because the Bent was right on one thing, and that is there has been a large increase in nationalism on the part of the Ukrainians. But even a large increase doesn't of nationalism doesn't fix certain inherent issues in nation building. I have said this time and time and time and time and time again. You can have ethnically group an ethnic collection group, okay, that's unique, that has its own language, that has its own culture. That doesn't make it a nation, because one of the primary prerequisites of a nation is and always will be having defensible borders. Everybody who really looks at this stuff or has studied history understands you can claim to be ethnically diverse and have your own little groups and everything else, but if you don't have defensible borders, people just come marching right on in. And you then become an ethnic minority in whatever group is now taking you over. You don't have a nation unless you can defend your borders. You need defensible borders. When it comes to the Ukraine, the only defensible borders they have come along the Dnieper River. And it forms a very good border, actually. It's not an exaggeration. But what it means is that the regions on the other side of that river are going to always be dominated by the Russians. That's a reality. Well, what about the North? No, man. What about the North? I mean, you're right. In the North, they don't have defensible borders at all. However, Belarus, which is an ally of Putin, not going to deny that, hasn't moved in aggressively. Sounds far fetched. What kind of government wouldn't defend this? How many people saw this news? Stabbing rampage at Sydney Mall leaves at least 7 dead, including the attacker. 7 people are dead and others are in serious or critical condition after a stabbing rampage in Sydney, Australia on Saturday, according to police. The attacker, who was shot by a lone officer, you mean a person with a gun? You mean the rest of the people weren't running around stopping this crazed individual with a knife? That it took a man with a gun? Really? Everyone else was a victim until the guy with the gun came out, huh? Okay. We're just trying to get this understood. New South Wales Police Commissioner Anthony Cook told a news conference that the attacker walked into the Westfield Bondi Junction Mall at about 3:20 p.m. local time, right? Where he caused harm to about 9 people, stabbing them with a weapon he was carrying. The weapon was most likely a knife, he said. A spokesperson for the New South Wales ambulance told NBC News that a 9-month-old baby was transported to Sydney Children's Hospital with a pediatric stab wound. Cook said the inspector at the scene was guided to the offender's location by members of the public. As she pursued him from behind, Cook said the offender turned and the officer shot him. She took action, saving a range of people's lives, he added. He said the offender's motives were not clear, but he acted alone and that there was no continuing threat. Speaking at the same news conference, the New South Wales Ambulance Assistant Commissioner Brent Armitage said 2 other people had been transported to the hospital across Sydney. Their conditions were not known. Surveillance video shows a man running through the mall holding a long knife. Reports from local media describe chaos as some shoppers fled, others attempted to stop the man. Some shops reportedly pulled down their shutters, sequestering some people inside in order to keep them safe. Hundreds of people were evacuated from the mall. In a live interview with 9 News Sydney, a local broadcaster, a man outside the local broadcaster, a man outside of the mall said he helped a baby after a woman was stabbed. The mom came over with the baby and threw it at me with a hole in the baby. It looked pretty bad. Roy Huberman, a sound engineer for ABC TV Australia, told the network that he sheltered in the store during the incident. Suddenly, we heard a shot, or maybe it was 2 shots, but we didn't know what to do. Then the very capable person in the store took us to the back where it can be locked. She then locked the store and led them out through the back entrance. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called the attack a horrific act of violence that indiscriminately targeted innocent people. And yet, we know nothing about the perpetrator. I wonder why. Why do you think that the name of the perp is being withheld? Stay tuned, folks, because next week I'm sure that we'll have more information on this and I'll do a follow up. Just question. All right. Kamala Harris blames Donald Trump for Arizona's abortion ban debacle in a speech. That evil orange man. Kamala Harris pinned the blame for Arizona's abortion ban squarely on Donald Trump, who she described as the architect of this healthcare crisis in a speech at a campaign event in Tucson on Friday. The state was left reeling after the Arizona Supreme Court ruled earlier this week that a Civil War era law banning abortion in the state with almost no exceptions was now enforceable. Here in Arizona, they have turned back the clocks to the 1800s to take away a woman's most fundamental right, the right to make decisions about her own body, the vice president said, adding that the women in the state now live under one of the most extreme abortion bans in the nation. Okay. And that is true. Okay. However, this is what happens when you put leftists in the court system. For those who don't know what happened here, okay, for those who were wondering what the hell I'm talking about, it don't matter. These are all a bunch of no. This came down to the Arizona Supreme Court. The Arizona Supreme Court, after Roe v. Wade was removed, the legislature passed its own restrictive abortion ban rule, and their cutoff was 15 weeks. Okay, after 15 weeks, abortions were deemed illegal. Okay, however, people took to court to say, well, wait a minute here. There's previous laws that supersede this. However, here's the problem that you got. The previous laws predate the state. The law in Arizona, which predates its statehood. If the law predated the statehood, okay, then how can the Arizona Supreme Court come back and say, okay, but that law is still enforceable? The new law passed, and the new law passed by the legislature is null and void. Okay? They did it because a bunch of leftists on that court said, haha, this is our way of getting back at all these people. We're going to make this an election issue. It was strictly done for election purposes. It was strictly done. These people are playing politics with it. You have a judges on the Arizona Supreme Court playing politics. There is no legal justification for the Arizona Supreme Court to say a law that was put in place prior to the advent of statehood for the for Arizona now supersedes the Arizona legislature. That's the kind of stupidity that's out there. I never knew that Trump was in charge of Arizona. So these people are doing this. The Democrats did this, all right, because they wanted to sit up there and use this as an election tool. They don't give a shit about abortion. They really don't. And this bent comes over here federally and says, oh, you know, you think I can do this? No, we know what this was about. I think I'll just go with this next story here. Leonard Leo won't comply with a Senate subpoena in Supreme Court ethics probe. Conservative judicial activist Leonard Leo said he will not comply with a subpoena issued by Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee as part of their ongoing investigation into ethics practices at the Supreme Court. The subpoena was issued to Leo by the Judiciary Committee Chairman Dick Durbin on Thursday, months after Democrats on the panel voted to authorize it. Right? Durbin had been looking into ethic issues at the Supreme Court for roughly a year following a series of reports that revealed Justin Clarence Thomas, all right, took luxury trips with a Republican mega donor, Harlan Crow, and did not disclose them, all right? Crow, a Texas real estate developer, did not receive a subpoena from Durbin, a spokesman for Crow said. Leo has played a central role in the ethics crisis plaguing the Supreme Court, and unlike other recipients of information requests in this matter, he has done nothing but stonewall the committee, said Durbin. Hey, Durbin, go after yourself. You're a disgraceful piece of shit. You're a corrupt, disgraceful piece of shit. You've always been corrupt. You come from the Illinois machine, all right? You take bribes left and right. Well, people forget about this. This guy was well, we decided not to pursue it on his own ethics issues, and yet he is in charge of the Judiciary Committee. Kind of like Leaky Leahy was on the intelligence committees, where Leaky Leahy was sitting up there turning over all sorts of information to America's enemies while he was a senator. These guys are a disgrace. Now, do I think that there are problems with the Supreme Court? Do I think the Supreme Court needs to be taken care, that there are problems with how it's done? Yeah. One of the first things I would do with the Supreme Court, quite frankly, is I would take it out of DC. I would remove it from the DC, the from the DC area. You really want to start fixing some of these problems? You gotta take these areas out of DC. Is it a 100% fix of everything? No, it's not. All right, but it begins the process. It begins the process because the problem with the DC is everything is situated in a like-minded area where they all go to the same parties, they all go to the same thing, and they start to think alike. Everyone around them, it becomes groupthink. Get rid of them. Remove them out of DC, and I guarantee you a lot of that problem goes away. Why? I'll tell you one reason why I would do it right now. You're going to bitch about these lobbyists. You're going to bitch about their ability to do things. Well, if you remove these different agencies and put them in separate areas around the country, you know what that creates? That creates a problem for those same lobbyists because they don't have to just concentrate in one area. They don't just have to say, okay, I'll get my guy and I'll put him over in DC and he can take care of all these different areas. Now you're going to have multiple guys. So in order to do the lobbying successfully, you're going to have a lot more money spent just to do lobbying. It involves a bright flash and some heat. Now. Google limits news links in California over proposed link tax law. Google has announced it plans to reduce access to California's news websites for a portion of its users in the state. The decision comes as Google prepares for potential passage of the California Journalism Preservation Act, a bill requiring online platforms like Google to pay news publishers for linking their content. The CJPA, introduced in California state legislature, aims to support local journalism by creating what Google refers to as a link tax. If passed, the act would force companies like Google to pay media outlets when sending readers to news articles. However, Google believes this approach needs to be revisited and could harm rather than help the news industry. Jafar Zaidi, Google's vice president of global news partnerships, stated in a blog post, all right, it would favor media conglomerates and hedge funds who had been lobbying for this bill and could use funds from the CJPA to continue to buy up local California newspapers, strip them of journalists, and create more ghost papers that operate with a skeleton crew to produce low cost and often low quality content. To assess the potential impact of the CJPA on its services, Google is running a test with a percentage of California users. During this test, Google will remove links to California news websites that the proposed legislation could cover. Despite the low percentage of news queries, Google wants to continue helping news publishers gain visibility on its platform. However, the CJPA is currently constructed would end these investments. Okay. This is just stupid. All right. This is California stupidity. All right. What you're going to do is basically end news publishing in California. That's what's going to happen. Enjoy it. Get ready get ready to be killed. These newspapers and everything else, get ready to be destroyed. The fact that they're linking to your articles increases traffic to your site, which gives you the ability to get revenue. Well, but it's the ad blockers. No, man, it's the ad blockers. People don't want to see their ad block. They don't want their stuff added. So even when Google does it, they come over to our site. Yeah, but their ad blockers block our advertisers. And they don't block out all advertising. Just the ones that are annoying and do pop-ups and shit like that. Maybe you should sit up there and tell your advertisers not to put pop-up bullshit on your freaking site, and then it wouldn't be an issue. Everything like that. But aside from that, if you think that somehow Google, which is sending you traffic, which is giving you visibility, is going to pay you to increase your own visibility, enjoy. Enjoy. There'll be more of these people will be out of work. And the idiot who came up with this, the moron, the corrupt moron who came up with this in the California legislature, who's on the take, I'm sure, right? Because you don't come up with this if you're a thinking individual. Now, granted, the leftists control the state in California, right? They're just absolute morons. Okay, they're just absolute morons, right? But they're corrupt absolute morons. But there are morons there. Some of these people believe the stupid shit that they say, but the vast majority of them are they're just morons. Okay, they not only believe it, they're corrupt. The reason that they're spewing it is they've been told this by people that they know are a bunch of lying sacks of shit, and they still come in. Now, I just talked about the abortion ban here in the state of Arizona. Instead, we end up with this kind of crap here in Arizona. Right on red bill awaits Governor Hobbs' decision after passing from the Arizona legislature. The Arizona legislature has approved a new bill that would bar local governments from having no right on red signs unless a registered engineer first determines at each affected intersection that a right on red is unsafe at all times or on specified days and times. The bill, SB 1299, was narrowly approved by both House and Senate and now awaits determination by Governor Katie Hobbs. So what this is implying is saying that before somebody determines that you cannot turn right on red, there has to be a study to do it, said Representative Teresa Martinez, all right, Republican. If you all like standing in traffic, then that's one thing. But as a person who does not like to be in traffic and who wants to make sure who gets to their destination as soon as possible, you're probably going to want to vote yes on this bill. I voted no on this. I don't think it was necessary, said Patty Contreras. All right. I'm not seeing red light, no turn signs all over the city willy nilly. All right. Come out here in Tucson, bitch. Where you see stupid shit like this. Okay. The fact is, I don't think the bill is necessary, and I would agree with you. All right. I wouldn't vote no on the bill. Okay. You're stupid for voting no on the bill. Okay. If you don't want to vote at all, fine. All right, because you think it's unnecessary, fine. But the reality is that too many of these freaking sites are putting these no right on red, not for the purpose of traffic control, not because turning right on red is dangerous. Where? You want to know why people started putting these things up there, right? So they could get money. These areas are trying to do it so that they can sit there and charge people money. Meanwhile, where did Patty Contreras sit up there and not sit up there if she was smart? She should have said, "Look, I put a proposal to repeal the ban on abortion." Right? She could have done that. No. She didn't comment on this. Ethan Crumbly's dad calls himself a martyr, threatens prosecutor in jailhouse call. You better be effing scared. The dad of a school mass shooter, Ethan Crumbley, called himself a martyr in a profanity laced prison phone chat, blamed the school for his son's horror crime, and vowed that the prosecutor would be in hell soon. James Crumbley, who was convicted of involuntary manslaughter over his son's shooting at Oxford High School in 2021, threatened to take down Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald multiple times in a recorded undated phone call where the father shook off responsibility for Ethan, then 15, taking the lives of 4 students and injuring 7 others. When I get out of here, I'm going on an effing rampage, Karen. Yes, Karen McDonald, your S is going to down, the dad told an unidentified person on the other end, according to Click on Detroit. You better be effing scared. Go ahead, record this call, he goaded. Send it to Karen McDonald. Tell her how James Crumbley is going to effing take her down. Right? She will not have a law license when I'm done with her. And like I said earlier, Karen McDonald is going to be working at an effing McDonald's because she ain't going to be able to get an effing job anywhere else. James Crumbley, 47, and his wife Jennifer, 45, were both sentenced between 10 to 15 years behind bars Tuesday for their son's massacre in Michigan. The dad went as far as to say that he had been made a martyr, and he and his wife were the first parents to ever be charged in connection with their child's mass shooting, let alone convicted. I feel like I've joined the military and I'm going to fight for my country, you know. I kind of am, all right? I'm fighting for everyone else's freedom, he said in a phone call. I feel like a martyr or a martyra, all right? However you want to pronounce it, all right? If they allow this stupid bee to do this to us, what she's trying to do is based on nothing. Here's the thing: she never did any type of investigation before they charged us. He raged. Prosecutors said presidents were criminally negligent for providing Ethan to a gun to Ethan as early as Christmas, as an early Christmas present, and for ignoring the signs that he could be potentially violent. McDonald claimed that James Crumbley did nothing over and over and over again to stop his son, despite knowing his obsession with guns and violence. Although the parents were tried separately, their defense teams argued that they couldn't have known their son would become a mass shooter. Right? In James's jailhouse call, he makes it clear that he takes no responsibility in the horror and blames the high school for not doing more to protect its students. They're trying to blame this all on us. They're trying to say that none of this would have happened because because of you, he said, dragging out the last word. It's so effing ridiculous. It wasn't us. It wasn't us. It was the effing school. Throughout his long-winded rant, the dad continuously referred to McDonald, whom he called an ignorant and uneducated, and said that she's just a stupid bee, right? She's going to be effing sucking on a effing hot rock down in hell soon. She's going to drive me effing insane in this place. He added that he couldn't discuss his rampage plans on the phone because then I'll give away stuff too. James Crumbley pled guilty to 24 charges, all right, including first degree murder and terrorism on October of 2022. He was sentenced to life behind bars. Why did you plead guilty? Right? I don't understand this. Where did that come from? That came out of nowhere, right? That really came out of nowhere. Hey, James. Um, look, I if your child goes out there and commits a freaking violent crime, right? These things are going to happen from time to time. Do I think that the parents hold some kind of accountability responsibility for things? Yeah, they do. in a civil sense, not in a criminal sense. If they didn't do anything wrong criminally, okay, because to sit up there and say that, well, you didn't, you know, you should have known that this person was going to do X, Y, Z. Well, how, if that's going to be the case, you can apply that to everyone. How far down the rabbit hole are you going to go? So a guy gets out of prison. You have a work release thing where the guy gets out of prison. He's going to work in a place to rehabilitate, like a rehabilitation type of center. All right, and let's say that this grocery store says, okay, well, I'll take in criminals on a work release so that we can get them integrated back in society, and you're doing that, and then that freaking person goes out there and kills half the patrons of that store one day, or shoots somebody. Are you going to come back and sit up and say, well, that guy, the store's responsible? Are you going to come back and say that the person who let him work in his area, is he responsible? How far down the road do you want to go with that? All right. This was a bad law. This was bad. This is bad law. If this doesn't get overturned at some point, okay, it's going down a road that nobody's going to be happy with the result of it. Mark my words, folks. The ramifications of this is significant and wide ranging. It really is, and it's not good. Man arrested for Easter Bible belting of a Walgreens worker. On Easter, the manager of a Walgreens store suffered a Bible belting because she was being rude, according to a customer who is now facing felony battery charge. Police say that Peter Owens, 35, went to the pharmacy Sunday evening to purchase a pair of headphones. While at a Clearwater, Florida business, Owens got into a verbal altercation with an employee over the headphones, according to a criminal complaint. When Nicole Merrick, the 36-year-old store manager, approached Owens, seen at the right, and asked him to leave Walgreens, Peter used the brown Bible in his hand and struck Nicole in the face one time before he exited the store. After the alleged Bible battery, cops located Owens and took him into custody. After being read his rights, he reportedly admitted to striking Merrick in the face one time with his Bible because she was being rude to him. Peter said he did not mean to hit her. All right, said Officer Ryan reported. The criminal charge against Owens was enhanced to a felony count since he was using a Bible. No, since he has a conviction in 2020 in Michigan for assault and battery, for which he was sentenced to a year's probation. Owens was released from the county jail last night after posting $5,000 bond. A judge has ordered him to have no contact with Merrick, and he must stay away from the Walgreens outlet. Bible thumping the old the old way. Out, you foul demon! Folks, don't be whacking people upside the head with a Bible. Please don't take a Bible and whack people upside the head. Stop filming yourself at the gym already. By Anna Marie Alcantara. Alcantara. Hey, Anne, I can't disagree with you. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Emily Holtzman, a 27-year-old yoga instructor in New York, is frustrated that her students won't stop bringing phones to her class. She wrote a note on her class door, please, no phones, especially no filming yourself working out. She didn't expect the note would stir so many emotions. Many people think phones have gotten out of hand at concerts and at movies, even at fast food drive-thrus. Documenting our lives for social media or group text has become the norm. few moments exist now where people don't whip out their phones, all right, to take photos or video. The gym had been a holdout on our phone obsessed society. Taking out a device during a workout used to be met with a one sided eye from nearly everyone in the room. Now more people are throwing that old etiquette away and using their phones in yoga studios and workout classes. At the squat rack and at the squat rack, the movement has other gym goers questioning their filming counterparts online and in person, and has led to some confrontations. Okay, um, let's be perfectly frank. Why are people doing it? They're doing it to be suggestive. Okay, it's being done. It's being done to be suggestive. It's a form of modern day flirting in a degenerate age, where hooking up is all the rage still. Okay, I'm surprised that they're even talking about this. Iran's Revolutionary Guard seizes a container ship near the Straits of Hormuz amid tensions with Israel. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, this was done from Time magazine. Commandos from Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard rappelled down from a helicopter onto an Israeli affiliated container ship near the Straits of Hormuz and seized the vessel Saturday, the latest in a series of attacks between the two countries. The Middle East has braced for potential Iranian retaliation over a suspected Israeli strike earlier this month on an Iranian consular building in Syria that killed 12 people, including the senior guard general who once commanded its expeditionary Quds force there. The Israeli war on Hamas in the Gaza Strip, meanwhile, is now in its 6 months old and is inflaming decades old tensions across the region. What? Are they going to throw missiles at them? They're going to throw freaking drones at them? What are the Iranians going to do? I'm dead serious about this, folks. What are the Iranians going to do that they aren't already doing? Well, they weren't really, directly attacking them. They have been, right? When you're giving weapons and you're showing the weapons and you're firing the weapons, whether you're firing it from Syria, whether you're firing it from Lebanon, whether or not you're firing it from the Gaza Strip, okay? And yes, there are Iranians in the Gaza Strip or on the quote unquote West Bank. You're still Iranians firing these missiles. They're not doing anything differently than they have. Or you're inflaming the tensions. You want to calm the tensions down? I have a way to do it. You won't like it. Guaranteed it'll calm that shit right down though. Right? One way or another. It's going to come to that, folks. And this is what people don't understand. It's going to come to that. No amount of hand wringing, no amount of wishful thinking, no amount of, oh, please, can't we all just get along, pie in the sky, freaking smurf, la, 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 is going to fix it. No amount of it. You can wish in one hand and shit in the other. All right, all you want, you can keep on a wishing stone. You can go out there and find the wishing star from freaking Disney, right? Put it on out there. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. Now, could Iran sit up there and launch missiles and launch drones from Iran into Israel? Yeah, it could. Here's the problem they have. In order to do this the way that people are thinking about it, they're going to have to mass it. They're going to have to do a mass attack and everything else. And once that happens, all hell's going to break. Because people are going to see Iran for who they are. This is why the Iranians haven't done it yet. It's not because the Iranians are afraid of doing it. They're more than willing to do this. The only reason they haven't done it yet is because right now, there's a lot of people who keep running around hand wringing. Oh, 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 these poor guys. Oh, oh, you just don't understand. Oh, oh. But over time, slowly, people are starting to see them for who they are. People are starting to wake up. And there's a realization here that there's only going to be one solution to this, and it isn't going to be the solution that they want. And for those people who are in Iran, you guys, you want to scream Allahu Akbar and death to America? Okay. Keep thinking that that's going to all get you what you want. Because it's going to get you what you want, and the fact that if you want to be a martyr, you're going to be made one. You can expect that to be happening. Half of the anime industry works long works long hours, log over 220 monthly hours, says a survey. From Kyoto News, about half the people in the Japanese anime industry say they work over 225 hours per month, highlighting the long working hours compared with other fields. A recent survey by an industry association showed the number greatly surpassed a full-time worker's average of 163.5 hours in the health ministry survey for the 2023, according to the Nippon Anime and Film Culture Association. The NAFCA was founded in April last year in a bid to improve working conditions in the industry. The survey garnered 323 responses, including 191 from animators, 44 from people involved in directing, 35 from those in producing roles, and 23 from voice actors, excluding voice actors who have a differing work schedule from others in the industry. 30.4% said they worked 10 hours or more daily, with the longest duration being 336 hours in a single month. Okay, so why am I doing this story? I can hear people down. No, man, who cares? I mean, there's the animation industry. This is anime. This is Japanese anime. Who gives a crap? Okay, here's my point. Here's the reason I did this story. You American animators out there, you guys that are trying to draw your own comic books, you're trying to create your own freaking content and everything else. Are you putting in this kind of work? Because this is what you're competing with. Do you understand that now? This is what you're competing with. When you guys talk about, well, I want a job and I want to have this and I want all this money and everything else and I want all the rights and I want all this other stuff. Look, dude, all right? I've said this many times. Okay? This stuff is out of control. Okay? Now, are these long hours? Yeah, these are long hours. Do I think that these hours are slightly inflated? Slightly. I do think that they're inflating this a little bit. Okay, but I do think that they are working really long hours because they love what they're doing. And this is what you're competing with. So if you want to create the next graphic novel that everyone wants to have and you want all this money given to you and everything else, you'd better be prepared to put in the time. You better be prepared to do this kind of stuff, or you're not going to make it. Now, there are sites like Webtoons, right, which a lot of people were like complaining recently because Webtoons is basically trying to write contracts to take control over a person's IP once they agree to this contract to put their stuff on the site. And so if the the product becomes popular, okay, Webtoons wants the lion's share of any of that revenue. So if you become a popular creator, okay, they want to make money off you. And a lot of people are bitching and complaining that they're taking advantage of these guys and don't sign up for it. Clownfish TV, for example, is really death on these things. And here's my problem with Clownfish's assessment of things. They're not wrong in the sense of if you want to control your IP, you don't sign these kinds of contracts. But they forget, people like Clownfish TV and all these other people forget, okay, that they're not taking the risks. You want to do this, Clownfish TV? You want to sit there and compete with them? Go ahead and compete with Webtoons. Make your own freaking site, all right, that did what Webtoons does, right? Give generous freaking deals about IP to the people, all right, to the creators, all right. Let them run their website and see what happens, and you'll find very quickly that your business will go out of business there. There's a reason you don't do that, and the reason is very simple. Okay, it's not a good business model. The risks are all in the people that are creating the website. They're the ones who are putting themselves monetarily initially out there. Now, the problem comes back to is when something becomes popular, okay, everyone wants their money. So if I put something out there, if I do a drawing that everyone loves to do, I want my money. Because it became popular, everybody wants it, everyone's clamoring for it. All right, okay, well who's the benefit? Well, it should be the creator. It should be the creator. Why? You didn't take any risks to put it out there. Sure, you're the creator. Don't create it anymore. You still have the control over that from that perspective. Now, do I agree that with everything that these companies don't use shyster tactics and things like that? No, these companies definitely do. They need to create a working partnership with these people. The problem is that creators don't ever want a working partnership, though. They say they do, but if something takes off, they want total control again. They're willing to let go of control and work with you and say, okay, yeah, we'll make the product better. But once the product becomes popular, that creator is starting to run around going, I want my money. You're going to give it to me. I want control. Then don't sign away your control. In this way, Clownface TV is right. Then don't sign away your control. Well, if you don't sign away your control, you don't get any money to start with. So it creates a gatekeeping type of environment. That's what people are bitching about. Well, they can't keep it. They can't let it. Then go compete for yourself. It's the same problem that I have with these people bitching that this place is becoming a food desert and they're not going to, if Safeway closes here and stuff, that we're going to run to the government because they're closing because they're being robbed too much and they don't want to close the store because it's not profitable anymore. So therefore, you can't do that. You're just going to create a food desert. It's going to create a food desert. Well, then, if you don't want there to be a food desert, well, then pony on up, all right? Make your own grocery store and put it on out there. Pony on up. Pony up, folks. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. Man found drunk, naked, sitting in a garbage can. I wanted to be Oscar the Grouch. I thought I was on Sesame Street. Arguing that he is not subject to arrest, a Florida man told police that he was allowed to be drunk and disorderly and sit naked in a trash can on the public sidewalk, according to an arrest affidavit. St. Petersburg cops alleged that while James Weeks, 35, was intoxicated, unsteady on his feet, and smelled of booze when they discovered him late Saturday evening on a downtown street. Weeks, seen at the right, was extricated, sans clothes, all right, from a corner trash can and arrested for disorderly intoxication and resisting an officer without violence. What is a resisting an officer without violence? All right, that's a stupid charge. Both of which are misdemeanors. In addition to claiming that he could not be punished for his lounge, all right, taken on Oscar the Grouch, Weeks said that he did not provide officers with his name or demographics. Weeks yesterday pled guilty to both counts, was fined $520. His rap sheet overflows with theft, disorderly conduct, panhandling, criminal mischief, and other misdemeanor convictions. One of his prior busts comes after Weeks and a male friend were spotted drunk and naked on a Tampa street after they exited a bar. The duo told cops that they had thought it would be funny to strip off their clothes. He was being a trash man. Oh, God. I was watching Sesame Street and I figured, what the hell, man? You're not green, dude. You're not green. More degeneracy. But it's not Florida. Congratulations. Police. Missouri man 34 stole luxury vibrators worth more than $1,500. Luxury vibrators? Luxury vibrators. A Missouri man is facing a felony charge for allegedly swiping 8 luxury vibrators from an adult toy store, and then he tried to fence them via Facebook. Christopher Michael Booth, 34, was named yesterday in a felony complaint charging him with stealing the vibrators valued at a combined $1,539.20 from a Hustler Hollywood outlet store in Berkeley, a St. Louis suburb. The purloined sex toys, which retail for around $200 a piece, were manufactured by Lilo, a Swedish company that advertises itself as one of the world's leading designer brands for intimate lifestyle products. Employees told the police that they recognized the suspect because he had been in the store earlier and had argued with him before being asked to leave. The man, workers also recalled, had a number 314 prominently tattooed on his neck. 314 is the main St. Louis area code. Items consistent with those stolen from the store were later offered for sale on a Facebook marketplace under the defendant's Facebook profile. His rap sheet includes multiple theft convictions. You can see this here, 314. Yeah. Now I realize that grocery prices are pretty outrageous nowadays. But yeah, you could probably purchase a lot of cucumbers for $1,500. Just put it out there. Luxury. And here is a soup. I can't do this. Last story, final story of the day, folks. Bear caught on camera trying to break into a parked police car. The Florida Highway Patrol posted a security camera footage showing a hungry bear attempting to break into a parked patrol car. FHP's Troop F, based in the southwest part of the state, posted a video to Instagram showing the furry suspect who is wanted for attempted burglary of an FHP. I assume that's Florida Highway Patrol police car. Uh, the footage shows the bear apparently on the hunt for snacks approaching the parked vehicle and an attempt to use its mouth and paws to work the door handle. The attempted break-in by bear, nicknamed Teddy by the Florida Highway Patrol, was ultimately unsuccessful as the doors of the car were locked at the time. Florida wildlife officials recommend keeping doors locked while parked and keeping vehicles free of any food or trash that could attract the animals, as Bruins have been caught on camera in the past opening unlocked vehicle doors in search of snacks. Good luck getting the cuffs on you. Um, Yogi, just to let you know, Yogi, if you ever hear this and can follow along with it, if you're going to go after the picnic baskets from cops, you might want to wait until after they're around like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Krispy Kreme. Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. All right, folks. Hope you all have a good day. Thanks for all coming out. Um, and I'm gonna have to leave for now. Talk to y'all later. Bye bye.